What up, everybody? And welcome to Late Night Live number 130. I hope everybody's having a wonderful morning, day, evening. What's going on, Marilyn? How you doing today? What up, Abjeet? Hello, hello. It feels like we haven't done a Late Night Live or a stream, and it feels like it's been ages. Hello from Mexico City, Caligrafico. Welcome, welcome. What up, Ojaswini? What's going on, Lewis? What's going on, Jay? What up, Skeet? All is well. I got my tea, which, as always, I'm going to try to not forget. Woo! But it is very fresh, so it's very hot. So, remind me in like 10-15 minutes to drink that. It's been a year. Oi, oi, oi. So dramatic, Ojaswini. As you guys know, as posted it in the video description, today's plan is to backtrack through some of this previous week's word of the days from dictionary.com. But before we do that, I want to do a quick show and tell. First of which is the latest addition to my collection, which I'm quite excited about. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. We'll put autofocus, or just when he will remind me after if I forget to take it out of autofocus. Here we go. Zoom out a little bit. This is my probably favorite, latest addition to my book collection. This is Ames's Book of Flourishing from America's Greatest Penman. But what makes this exciting, what makes this particular version exciting is on the front cover. This was 2L.E. Kimball from Daniel T. Ames, Christmas 1893. So it is, the signatures are very, very smudged. I don't know if there's nothing on the back cover ink-wise, so they must have used some form of blotter paper, and they smudged it quite a bit, but that doesn't take away from the fact that, though it's not the most beautiful Ames signature in the world, it is a version of this book, or an edition of this book signed by Ames himself, which is pretty darn exciting, if you ask me. There are plenty of scans of this book online, beautiful flourishes, birds, and just do a really quick couple things there. If you want to see what's in this book, like I said, there are many, there's some really good scans of it already existing on the internet, but some beautiful bird examples. I know a lot of people in the creature lately have been diving into the bird world, a world that I have not been in lots. Unfortunately, you can see some of the, you guys might not be able to see, it might be too bright. Somebody had paper clipped something onto these pages, so you can see the indents of a paperclip, but that's what happens when we collect vintage books. We get vintage paperclip memories and whatnot in them. Yeah, so it's my little bit of show and tell. I acquired this book, I believe it was an eBay find a long time ago, but many of my eBay finds get sent to a friend of mine in the US, and I didn't actually get to have it in my possession until I was in Philadelphia for the Philly Pen Show, which now I have it and I can add it to my bookshelf once it's properly built. Until then, it stays down here with the rest of the treasures. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one. It's nice to have an original, and an original in a book is really cool. I don't have a ton of original specimens in my own personal collection. I have primarily books, so signed books. It's a specimen in a book, which is pretty awesome. How was the Philly Pen Show? The Philly Pen Show was and always is incredible. It was a really, really good time. I had fun. It went by, unfortunately, way too fast. I did not purchase any pens this year. I think this may be the first year that I've gone to the pen show and not purchased a pen, but I did have some work done to a couple pens, and if you guys will indulge me, I can show and tell those as well. Get a piece of paper here. I will zoom you back in. Let's zoom back in to closeness mode. Yeah, next year, Philly Pen Show, you guys should come. It's a good one. I mean, all the pen shows are good, to be honest. I don't think any of the pen shows in the circuit are really bad pen shows. Oh, yeah, Jay, so the day after the Philly Pen Show, for those of you who don't know, fellow penman Nick DeQuano lives in Philadelphia, and he has a beautiful vintage penmanship collection. He has a pen room, which is awesome. So the day after the Philly Pen Show, I went to Nick's house and spent an entire day before leaving to continue my adventures up to New York. I spent an entire day just hanging out with Nick and geeking out over his collection and old holders and specimens, and it was awesome. Rare are the days that I get to, in person, with the exception of Iampith, and that's about it, in person, sit and geek out with people about these collections. Like last year it was Iampith, and then when I went to take digital scans of the Iampith archive, geeking out with Neil McCaffrey about the collection that they have there. And then this one felt just like that, geeking out with Nick about the collection. It was pretty magical. Do I have a clear ruler? I have a clear ruler somewhere. Do you want to know the ruling? Is that your question? If that's what you need the clear ruler for, I can tell you right there, this ruling is 7/16 of an inch. All of my guidelines that I print, because I have sometimes like 7/16 and then I'll be like 7/32 and things like that. So I print always on the bottom of my guide sheet. If it has an angle, I print what that angle is as well, always on the bottom. So no need for a clear ruler, because it's not within arm's reach, I don't believe, of me right now. Oh yeah, there is one right there, but we don't need it. 7/16 of an inch is this size. All right, pens. So this is not a new pen. I acquired this pen 2 or 3 years ago at the Philadelphia Pen Show, but it had a different nib in it. I used to have an Edison, I believe it was an Edison Beaumont pen that had this nib in it. It was a nib that I had custom ground to what was a quad extra fine, but for those of you who know me, that's not fine enough. So when I was at the Philly show, I took this to Gina of Custom Nib Studio, and they tuned it up for me, and the reaction that they had and I had when touching the paper was kind of a, oh, it's magic. And it's a flexible nib, which I don't flex my fountain pen nibs very much, but it is a flexible nib. So normally a nibmeister, or somebody who tunes or who custom does nib work, doing further work on an already flexified nib is very difficult, because when you try to grind it, the tines go all wishy-washy and whatnot on the machines they use. So we didn't know if it was gonna be, or how great it was gonna be, and I gotta say, I am stoked. So here, let me lock focus now, and I will just show you guys. This has been what I've been using for just business penmanship practice and whatnot. You can see the beautiful hairlines. Pretty much, I believe, as close as you can get to a dip pen hairline with a fountain pen. Am I a lefty today? Oh, is my camera... We can switch that out if my... Wait, how do I fix that here now? Give me 2 seconds. How do I do that? Do that on... The setup changes, I feel like, with all these breaks between streams. We can flip the face cam, I think. Hiya. Ta-da! Oh, there we go. Now I'm actually looking in the right direction. That makes sense. I should have caught that. Was that a Dizzy Bunny? I'm not on the right page here. Dizzy Bunny! Well, oh, it disappeared before I could see it. If anybody caught the name, welcome to our new subscriber. Well, it's been a while since we've had a Dizzy Bunny. There we go. Face cam is flipped. I am gonna make a slide tweak here. We'll leave it. It's okay. Gotta love when we have a Dizzy Bunny in stream. That's exciting. I gotta move the Dizzy Bunny. He's on the wrong side. Ever since I moved my camera over to the opposite side. But yes, this is my further hairlined, further fined, newest nib acquisition, which is incredibly fine. I'm very, very happy with it. And though I don't flex my fountain pens very often, it is a flexible nib as well, so I can get some flex in there if I want. But I likely won't, because I'm not a huge flexer of fountain pens. It doesn't feel right, so I don't do it very often. So that's show and tell pen number 1. And then I'll show one more. This is again not a new pen, but a new grind. This is my black bamboo Pilot Vanishing Point, which I'm very much a fan of. And the nib unit in it had a very extra fine nib in it before, but now it is finer. I do believe, if memory serves, it might be a little on the dry side at the moment. Ooh, yep. Nice and fine hairlines. Deb Healy 830. Welcome, Deb Healy 830. Glad to have you as part of the team. Like I said, I think this one needs to be filled with ink. I think it's running dry. So it has the occasional skip, but that's not due to the nib, I can assure you. It's not quite as fine as the previous one, but that's okay, because it's a little more legible, and also the ink that's in it is darker. But very stoked about this one. Well, that first nib was not a regular, it was not a steel nib. That is a, I believe it's 14 karat gold nib in that first one. Not a steel nib. This one is a steel nib, but obviously I wouldn't flex a Pilot Vanishing Point. But that's it for my fountain pen show and tell. I won't do too much of that because I know not everybody who's watching the stream is into fountain pens, but I was excited about those. Flexing a fountain pen, even with like, I have some extremely what you would call like a wet noodle flexible fountain pens, and they've never felt, it just doesn't feel right. The angle is off, so I don't have the right flow, so I just don't usually flex them. If I do add flex, it's usually to like the top of my lowercase t or the top of my lowercase d, just that little dot, or like the ending of a lowercase p or something. And then this one's just on my desk, so I'm gonna write with it as well for a sec. This one you guys have seen many times. This is my Shown Pocket 6. Nothing new happened to it at the Philly Pen Show. I did purchase this at the Philly Pen Show a number of years ago. But it also has a nice fine line. I am a fan of the super fine line, be it with a dip pen or be it with a fountain pen. I like it. Okay, let's dive into our work today, shall we? We'll get warmed up here. dive into dip. Dip into some writing. Water and my ink opened up here. Ink. Yeah, that one's lovely. It has... What ink is that? I believe that is Edelstein Teal? And then the burgundy from the first pen was Mont Blanc Burgundy. Favorite color of mine as well. Love burgundy. Like that. Oh, like the hat that's over there. The camera orientation is all funny now. Give me 2 seconds. I have to fix this. Gotta fix it. We wanna have... Should have done this before the stream, but that's okay. That out this way. There we go. That's what we want everything to look like. Better centered. There we go. Quick camera tweaks. My apologies. Alright, let's dive into to practice. Get warmed up first just with a few ovals before we dive into our first word. Now my thought was for the word of the day was to start with today's word and then sort of move backwards. Do you guys agree with that idea? Or should I start with the beginning of last week and then work my way to today? What are we thinking? I'm about 1 week behind. Da Vinci's walnut ink. I've never used that before. Whoa. Am I in the calligraphy Discord? I am in a calligraphy Discord. I don't know if it's the calligraphy Discord. Oh, not paying attention today. Wonderful. Are hairlines and everything visible for everybody today? It looks like they're pretty visible. Could probably zoom you guys up just a little more, I think. That should do. I always think I'm up close enough. Good question, Skeet. Today is a sharpened Leonard Principle. EF. I don't think Diego watches my stuff anymore because he can't see. I think Diego's just hairline blind. Somebody needs to make a remix to the song Hotline Bling, but call it Hairline Blind. I got that hairline blind. Parody. This nib is catching on the same stroke every single time. It is very sharp, but I feel like something is amiss. That's not the issue. That should fix it. Okay, a couple of these on the micro mesh. I've never used stone paper, but I mean, that makes sense to me because that would very finely wear down a nib. So you could use that to tune or to smooth a nib, I would assume. I'm not, don't take this as a recommendation to do it because I can't say it's good or bad, but it makes sense that that would work. Because it's a little abrasive. Oh, those hairlines are very fine. Can you see those? Oh, they show up on camera. I feel like they show up on my screen almost better than they do in person. That's great. Good. Good, good, good. This nib is a little snappy though, so I have to be careful. No getting sloppy today. Unless I change to a smoother paper, but I don't think I'm gonna probably do that. Have I ever sharpened a glass pen? No. I've never thought about doing that before. Oh, we got an ad. What was this ad for today? Is it? I guess it'd be different. It's different for everybody, right? Yeah, glass nibs. Well, if they need to feed all the way to the bottom, or they're really easy to lose flow, I guess. I'm not a huge. I've never been a huge fan of them. Normally because they're just too wet for me, for the most part. So no, I've never tried to sharpen one, but I guess that would be possible. If I had a glass pen that wasn't flowing nice, would I try to grind it? Yes, most certainly. Would it work? Who knows? Needs to be squared off. Really? That's interesting. Whoops. Didn't give myself enough space between the I and the U. Just gonna double check one more time because I feel like I can see the hairlines, but are the hairlines visible for you guys today? Sweet. Interesting. I guess before I tried to tune a glass pen, I would have to practice. Would have to study. Okay, let's dive into it. My hairlines are visible. I'm feeling somewhat warmed up. The hairlines are barely visible. This is why I usually use either the dark paper with the white ink, because it's really visible on screen. But all of the word of the days that I've done so far are on ivory paper. With very, very fine nibs. Hello, Annie. How you doing? There we go. Let's dive into the word of the day now that we're feeling somewhat warmed up. I'm going to practice on a separate sheet of paper. Well, I'll practice on this sheet of paper right here, and then I will write it on an unlined piece of paper with a guide sheet underneath and try to get it correct without any mistakes. I have been quite well. Thank you very much for asking. Glad to hear you're recovering from the bad cold and aren't still in bad cold mode. Alright, gonna give this a quick another pass because it still feels like it's catching more than it should in one specific spot. And I can't seem to get it to stop. But it could just be that I'm writing heavy in one specific spot today. Will blame myself and not the tools. But we'll do this a little bit. Sacrifice some of that hairline for smoothness. Anybody in the chat right now gonna wake up early tomorrow, or stay awake, I guess, and join me in the Mont Blanc flourishing class tomorrow morning? Anybody joining for that? Sweet. Awesome, awesome. I will thank Jay for posting that in the Creates room the other day. Getting that info out there to everybody. Should be a fun time. Well, luckily, I guess you missed the live experience, but those playbacks live on the website, or at least all of my courses so far are still there. Okay, let's do it. We start with today's word of the day, and then we'll work our way backwards. See if we can make it all the way to last Monday. My camera focus able to catch that. So imponderabilia. Imponderabilia is things that cannot be precisely determined, measured, or evaluated. I like that. Imponderabilia. That's one of the longest word of the day words we've had so far. Starting with one of the most dangerous capital letters for a superfine nib, the capital I, but that's okay. Imponderabilia. I really like this one. It's a good word. Ooh, it's long. Did I spell that right? Imponderabilia. Yeah, sweet. What did you do yesterday? I just sat on a hill looking at the stars, pondering imponderabilia. I'm gonna use that with somebody. Hello, Olivia. Good evening. How are you doing? Let's do a few more capital I practices. Pondering imponderabilia. I guess that's the whole point of Word of the Day. We're supposed to be expanding our vocabulary. Hairline disappeared there. Whoops. That's what you, Lewis, this is your least favorite? You have no love for the capital I? The capital I mean, everybody has heard my J story where I fell in love with the J because I could start it like I start my capital M's. But you can do that with the capital I, but it never looks as good. This is fine and everything's spaced out, but I've never liked the way that sort of flourish looks in here. Just a personal preference thing. I've designed it and drawn it slowly in ways that I like it, but I don't think even once I've ever written it in a way that I really like. Capital I is highly boring. It could be seen as not the most exciting capital letter. I suppose that's true. I like doing the word of the days are very sort of unflourished and simple, but I do like doing the capital I with 2 spirals at the end. Is my favorite, like so. Or there's the other good one. That one, like so, is a nice one. It's so basic. Well, it is. I mean, think of it in Roman. It is. It's a straight line. I mean, if it has serifs, it has a top and a bottom. But it's just a. It's basic. It's a very basic capital. Okay, let's see how much space this definition takes up. Things that cannot be precisely determined, measured, or evaluated. Quality of penmanship falls into the realm of imponderabilia. Things that cannot. The starting position is probably the most difficult part about it, I think. Things that cannot be precisely determined. Ooh, we're gonna do this one in 3 lines, I think. Determined, measured, or evaluated. My new favorite ending D as well. Seen it in things on the Discord or whatnot recently. I don't remember where I saw it, but I've fallen in love with it. And like the non-descender Y, it's sort of taken over. There's 3 of them in this one. Okay, so 3 even lines, relatively easy to space out that definition. Am I writing the minuscules with a mix of forearm movement and finger movement? Mostly forearm movement. I cannot say that I'm not using any finger movement at all, but for the most part in my lowercase letters, most of it, not in my fingers. When you see my fingers acting, that is usually when I'm applying a shade. So, which a lot of my letters have shades, like the T, the H, the N, the G, the dot on the S, the T, the H, the A. So that's when my fingers themselves are coming into action. My wrist comes into play ever so slightly sometimes, but not a whole lot. Most of the movement itself is still coming from my forearm. Hello, Giancarlo. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, inevitably, my fingers probably come into play more than more than I would like, or more than I imagine. I mean, you guys see it on video, so you can see every time anything's doing anything, but it doesn't feel like I'm ever, this movement in my fingers I don't feel like ever happening, because that feels basically uncomfortable. The only time it's coming in is the pressing. When I'm getting that shape, the little squeeze between my thumb and forefinger is coming into play, and then my wrist probably does a little more as well. Like I say, a little more than I would like it to. Wow, I think we're good to try to write this one on a blank sheet. Either this nib is really, really scratchy today, or my hand just doesn't want to be light today. We'll get this out here. We have a guide sheet underneath. This guide sheet, for anybody who's... it's slightly different ruled. This one is 7/30 seconds. I couldn't find my 7/30 seconds that didn't have the angles. So it also has a 52-degree slant, but we're kind of ignoring that today. So yeah, 7/32, which I believe is that half of 7/16. It might be half. All right, let's do it. If we mess up, we start again, lower on the page, because these ideally will all get cut out eventually, so we want to do these nicely. My hairline disappeared. We're gonna keep going anyways. I lost my opening stroke. No, I'm just gonna start over. That first upstroke was not having it. Right a little bit farther away from my body. It'll work. Imponderabilia. Writing a little bit smaller just because of the length of the word. Ponderabilia. Long exit stroke there. Now we're gonna take how long? Approximately like so. It's just slightly longer than the word or the lines of text that we're gonna write for the definition. Things that cannot be is line number 1. And just to keep things the way we've always done them, we do everything lowercase for the definition. My writing doesn't feel super flowy today. We feel restricted a little bit. I don't know why. Things that cannot be precisely determined. Be precisely determined, measured, or evaluated. Oh, looks like we got an ad coming in again. Be prepared. Ad ho. lots of use of this capital or this lowercase ending D today. Or evaluated. Use a different D to end it. Here we go. Imponderabilia. Things that cannot be precisely determined, measured, or evaluated. Many use finger movement exclusively for lowercase letters, while some claim to use pure movement or pure muscular movement, though I question the truth of the claim. Yeah. Well, I don't think he's necessarily wrong. I do believe there are some that used a lot of finger movement. In the interesting thing with those, with what he said, with what Tamlin says, I don't think he's not wrong. I think a lot of people did use a lot of fingers. But I think the fingers were, I don't think it was, like he says, exclusively finger movement. I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think a lot of penmen used exclusively finger movement. Because if I would wager to say penmanship using exclusively finger movement would feel uncomfortable. Like if we think, because penmanship takes up so much horizontal space that if we just imagine hypothetically, if I'm using my fingers here to write these letters, by the time I get to like here, because I'm not using forearm movement, so I'm not dashing between my letters, all of that movement, I'm gonna like run out of like movement space really quickly. And as my fingers are going, I feel like maintaining a consistent angle when you're using exclusively fingers is way harder. And I could be mistaken, but I kind of feel like when Tamlin says exclusively finger movement, I think he kind of means hand movement. Like I could see a lot of penmen that use a little bit of their fingers, a lot use the finger movements for their ascenders. I don't find that really comfortable. I find that every time I use my fingers, I lose control. I know that's opposite of how a lot of people feel when they write, but I don't use all movement by any stretch. Like I said, I think my wrist comes into play a fair bit here and there, and then my fingers do work because all the shades that I'm using require my fingers to be active. So my fingers are doing things, but as far as creating the forms with my fingers don't want to move that fast and flowy. So, I don't know. I don't know if Tamlin's right, but I don't know that he's wrong either. Because I do think there are some definite false claims in the old penmanship books and the way the old penmen spoke. I think if they're to be believed, they all actually slid on their fingernail, which I don't think most of them actually did. And I think a lot of what they say is fully believable, but I feel like smooth, flowing penmanship with exclusively finger movement would be very difficult. Unless, here we go, there's an unless. Unless we're using finger movement only for the creation of the specific form. So let's say I'm using my arm for the entry stroke. Then I use my fingers to create the A. Then I use sort of a more dash my wrist or arm for the connective stroke, and then I use my fingers again for this stroke here. But then my exit stroke is still going to use my arms. So then my writing, because this point right here and this point right here is where we see the fluidity. It's really hard to see the difference between like an N written with movement, and the center of an N drawn with the fingers. Is there a difference? Yes. Is it difficult to see? Extremely. For me, the changing, it's like changing gears. The changing between using fluidity, losing that fluidity, and then fluidity again, that feels very strange to me. Whereas I would potentially slow down on pulling that shade, on that downstroke, I would control that. So I would have fluidity, slow down, fluidity. So then just where I'm adding that shade, I'm using my fingers a little bit more because my fingers would be used there anyways. So I'm not getting a quick down and out. I'm getting a shade and a quick out, potentially. So that going back and forth there, I think different people are comfortable in different spots where they slow down, where they, just like lifts, where people stop and whatnot. But I find it, if I was doing everything, like if I just write the word, movement with just my fingers, so if I don't use my arm at all, I already have to move either my paper or the placement of my hand. I think you can get very nice writing that way. To me, it doesn't feel nice to write it. I could have spaced this out a little bit more, I guess, but to space out these, if I'm adding any more space between my letters, to not have a dash to that next letter, that dash has to be, at minimum, your wrist. It has to be your wrist, or ideally, your arm. But if it's your fingers, I don't think you have the range. Sorry, that was a little bit rambly. I apologize. Oh, I went on a little bit of a tangent. But if what Tamblyn is, I guess I'll boil it all down to, what Tamblyn is saying is the letter forms themselves, not the spacing between, were formed exclusively with finger movement. Yeah, I believe that. It's possible. To me, that feels like I'm slowing down the process a little bit. But yeah, not your fault for bringing it up. It's good that you brought it up. These sort of talks are why I like doing this on the lives. I like having discussions. I like other people have given sort of their insights into it. Yeah, I think that was good. I do think penmen who say they use exclusively like 100% just arm movement, that's also inaccurate. I could guarantee that the majority of penmen's wrist or other elements are coming into play at least a little bit. But I could be wrong. Like Lewis said, we'll never know. We can only guess. I'm just going by... It's like if somebody told me a dance move was done a certain way, and I know how to do the dance, how we do the dance move today, if it doesn't make sense in the body, it doesn't make sense that they would have ever done it that way, because certain things are just biologically counterintuitive, and nobody would choose to do something that's counterintuitive, I guess. I don't imagine. The mover in me fights that theory a lot. There's no such thing as too much, Skeet. It all depends. If you want to use them less, then yeah, too much. Alright, let's go. I'll stop rambling here. Let's get back to the next word. We'll go now back in time to January... What are we? 29th. January 29th's word of the day is Janik. Is that how you pronounce that? Janik. Honest, fair, or straightforward. I think penmen of the past were not Janik when discussing the movement they use with their fingers or their arms. That's probably not the way you use it in a sentence, but yeah. Now, Marilyn, that brings up a good point. If somebody's using like a round hand with an exceptionally tiny lowercase letter, like if I'm doing my little lowercase a, those letters, I gotta be honest, it's a combination of wrist and fingers a little bit creating them, but the movement between is my arm. So that's possible. This is where I say if they're creating you could create your letter forms with your fingers, but not the whole thing. There's always, that's why we use the term combination movement. Everybody's using some form of combination movement, I'm pretty sure. But I don't know. I was never taught by a master of the old days, so I can't say. Boy, do I wish I was. All right, Janik. Capital J. Whoa. Janik. Is that how we want to start our J today? Whoa, gotta be careful that I don't go too high so that A gets way too big. Oh yeah, there's a lot to... Not enough people, I'll say, have gone through those lessons and actually read the documentation. It's really easy to go through those and look at the samples and the plates and whatnot. But the way that all the different penmen talk about basically different ways of saying the same thing, incredibly interesting, in my opinion. So that's a good idea, Lewis. That'll work. We got a couple. You can see here's a perfect example of where you're writing and how it changes your slant angle. Because your downstrokes will normally end up coming like towards your body. Look here, I have this slant angle. Here I have this slant angle, slightly more angled. And then I went farther across the page and slightly more angled. As the farther you get away, the more you'll get slanted, so you gotta be very cautious of that, especially when doing such a long letter like the J. Any descended letters, especially descended capitals. The F in the lowercase letters is one that you gotta watch that. Yes, Chin is a really good example. Chin has exceptional fast finger movement, which is, and this is an interesting thing. Al, earlier, if you guys were here when I was using my fountain pens, when I said I dislike flexing fountain pens, Chin writes exquisitely with flexible fountain pens, and I feel like that is in large part of the way she holds the pen and the way her fingers keep up with her movement. So that's a really good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Because she does have very, very fast students. Alright, what's this? Honest, fair, and straightforward. Honest, fair, straightforward. Just 3 words. We could probably do that all in 1 line. Or do we do honest and fair, and then straightforward underneath them? What do you guys think? Oh, I have a hair in my ear. Straightforward is going to make that quite long. Let's see. Whoops, wrong T. And then I ran out of space. Maybe I'll do straightforward, under, honest, fair, next line, straightforward. That's such a long word. Straightforward. Yeah, we're gonna do straightforward on the second line. Decided. Let's go straight to the other sheet of paper, shall we? Nib is still scratching in that one same spot. I don't like it. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix it. It might just be dead. But it's so fine and nice, I don't want to get rid of it. All right, Lewis, have a good night. We'll see you soon. Thanks for hanging out, as always. Janock. J-A-N-N-O-C-K. Janock. A little bit of weight out of that N by accident. But let's keep going and maybe we'll do it again afterwards. Fair, honest. No, honest, fair. That should take about the same amount of space as Janock with the J. I wrote a lot smaller by accident. Oops. not perfectly balanced. Now straightforward. Not quite centered. We're gonna try that one more time though. But not bad. Get sloppy with my downstroke on my lower, in between my lowercase letters. Is it possible to achieve that 52-degree slant using a straight holder or a fountain pen? Yes, you can. Here, let me show an example. What am I looking for? Where is it? Where is it? Sorry, I'll be back in a sec. There we go. So, 52-degree slant, just so I don't have to unclip the one I have on my page. If we have here a 52-degree slant line, basically, people will say that we want our nib to be exactly along the line of that 52-degree slant line. I'm not going to say that that's 100% necessary, because if I'm being honest, my nib is normally more angled than that slant line. But I would say that slant line or more angled they will all get the job done. Less angled, if your nib is more vertical than that slant line, things become rather difficult. So if you're writing with a dip pen, for example, do I have a dip pen here? Yeah. So if you're writing with a dip pen or a fountain pen, you're going to have this angle like so. Which, if you're creating those shades, obviously not that great. So you could kink your wrist, technically. You could tuck your elbow in, but this is going to supremely affect your movement. So I would assume what most people do would try to do ornamental penmanship, or back in the day, Spencerian was created with a quill. So you can rotate your paper more so you get more of that type of an angle. So you're not going to be able to have that hand going across the page type of feeling that you do with business penmanship and things like that. So you're going to have to move your paper more often, but you can get those strokes, get those shades the way you need them to be with that straight pen, and move your paper like so. Do they ever do normal words? Nah. I mean, they might have. They've probably been doing word of the day for quite a while, so I don't think they do normal words anymore. They've run out of normal words. They use words like Janik. But yeah, so there you go. If you want to do with a straight pen or with a fountain pen or something, fountain pen, the flex just feels weird. So I would say if you're using a straight pen, the easiest way is to get used to just writing with your paper at a more extreme slant. So you can see here to I guess you can see it in my face cam as well, how much I'm actually, my arm is coming up this way, but the paper is supremely angled a lot more, versus my normal paper angle would be about like so. About the same as my arm coming out. Another thing, I mean, it's similar to like a left-handed person, a left-handed writer. They'll write sometimes like so. They're an underwriter. A hook writer will often write Wait, how does a hook writer write? Every left-hander is different, but if you can get used to turning that page to suit whatever it is you want to write or how you want to write, you can technically do it. It's going to take a little bit of fiddling around to see what works for you, but I would say just write at an extreme angle, feel like you're writing uphill, but you can get then those shades going the right way you want. What's going on, David? Alright, let's try to write this Janek one more time. See if I can clean up those lowercase letters. I think the angle that my camera / writing is at today is different than before as well, I believe. I changed my little this sheet because I've been gone for a while, and I don't know if I was experimenting with different angles. 55 degrees. That's quite vertical. That's pretty. I write, if anything, more slanted. I usually write it probably 48, I would say, is probably my standard angle, I would assume. You are very welcome. Thank you for asking the question. Alright, now, I talked for a bit. Let me get back in J mode to try to write this J nicely. That's what we want to do. Yeah, Annie, that's fine. Like I said, I write it about 48 if I'm writing natural. I want to write 52, but 48, 52, 50, honestly, 56, 58, however you write it, there's no wrong angle. I would say the more vertical you are, the more sort of dignified is the wrong word, but it's going to look a little more formal. The more angled you get, it gets a little more free looking. What's going on, Hody? How you doing? 50 degrees is your standard. That's a good degree. Alright, let's write this J again. You can see there, as I mentioned earlier in this stream, the guidelines, my guidelines have a 52-degree slant, but I'm ignoring those today. I couldn't find my guideline that had just the horizontal lines at this ruling, so this one has 52-degree slants, but I'm writing it my natural slant today, which, as you can see by the look of that J, is a little more slanted than the 52. As I mentioned previous, probably around 48-ish. 50, 48. I doubt it's all the way to 46, but who knows. I think that looks better to me. Now, honest and fair. I did lose my hairline on that descender a little bit, but we're gonna pretend we didn't notice. Ugh. That's a bummer. Pulled ink in the top of that N. Happens sometimes. and straightforward. Hmm? Whoa. This straightforward is not coming out the way I wanted to. I like honest and fair. But that G is not very pretty. But I think that's good enough for our word of the day, Janik. Honest, fair, straightforward. Let's go to the next one. Oh, is the focus? No, focus should be good. It looks crisp on my end anyways. Unless the stream slowed down. Okay, next word. Oh, I need another. Do I have another line sheet of paper here? I do. These were extra Unchill handouts. I printed guidelines on the back for practice paper. Okay, what's our next word? What do we got? Let's go January 28th. Ooh. We have commodious. Commodious, I'm assuming.
Commodious.
Boom. Commodious. Spacious and convenient. Roomy. This looks different somehow. David, have you been here since the wall used to be white and it had the white shelving unit behind me for, I think I've only done one stream so far with the navy blue. One stream? Two streams. Maybe with the navy blue back there. So that could be it. The saga of Mike's background, as many of you know because I've mentioned before, this board that is currently serving as the desktop because of its warpage needs to be discarded. So unfortunately, this is going away hopefully relatively soon, and I'll be replacing it with some new boards that I'm actually going to pick up Thursday from a site. Then I have to get all the work done and sanding and staining and finishing and all that jazz, which I don't know when I'll get around to getting all that done. But this will ideally be a shelving unit behind me at some point when we get to it. Thank you very much. I'm very happy with the color. Very happy with the paint. I was hoping to have the shelves up by now, but unfortunately, like I said, the boards were not did not see it that way. So I have to restart that whole adventure. It's what I get for trying to go the cheap route in the first place. Waste my time. Oops. Alright, commodious. We got a capital C. Can we get a smooth C shade today? Maybe yes. Not too bad. the ticket. Too round on top, that one. Commodious. Did I spell that right? Odious. Yes, commodious. Cap C can be a doozy. I will let you guys know. I think I've said this on stream before, but my main focus these days when I'm writing the capital C isn't even the shade. I often make my exit ovals too big, but my main focus is that. It's this undercurve right here of the capital C. When I start with my horizontal entry and I go to that curve to come down. Whoa, that's a really ugly C. But having that rounded, you can see this is an extreme example. I habitually go from here and sort of shortcut my way up to there. That fluidity of this line goes away. So my main focus is that down swoop, which this is about as good as it gets for me, going from there up to there with a nice curve, not going too quickly. So my focus, is always on that motion, the down and up into the before the shade. And then I just hope that muscle memory takes care of the rest, if I'm being honest. Alright, what do we got for definition? Spacious and convenient, roomy. How do we space that out? Spacious and convenient, roomy? On 2 lines? Perhaps? Spacious and convenient. Roomy. Okay, I think that's how we're gonna do that one. Sounds like the god to the bathrooms. I'm not gonna lie, when I first read commodious, I was gonna say something about a commode. I did have the thought, Marilyn, you're not alone there. I will admit I didn't think about the god of the bathrooms, which I quite like that. Oh. Well, that's like, you know, when, like, if you're out with your friends and you drink a little too much and they say, oh yeah, you spent the night praying to the porcelain gods. Commodious. That's who you're praying to. Commodious. Spacious and roomy loo. I like that. Commodious. The god of the toilet. Water closet king, as some like to call him. Okay, let's do... Yeah, let's dive right in. Why not? Make it happen. this page is full, we will put this page in our folder of word of the day words that we are keeping, or historical proof that we did them. I really wish I didn't have these guidelines on this sheet. My capital letters are ending up being more angled, and my lowercase are end up being 52. I guess I shouldn't complain about the guidelines. I should just make myself be more consistent. No recollections paper today. Today I'm using my Via Smooth writing paper. Though the Recollections Ivory, I did have a sheet of it here somewhere. I can show you the comparison. It's a bit darker of an ivory. What did I do with it? I had it here on my desk earlier today. I thought it was in this stack of papers, but I guess it isn't. My apologies. It's not here. I don't know where it is. I could have sworn it was, though. But yeah, so just a little bit more yellow. Oh, I didn't pick up the whole stack of papers. That could probably be why. Now I have the whole stack of papers. There it is. I wasn't completely wrong. So there's the... I don't know if the camera shows the difference. We have versus a white. As an example, we have the white, the Via Smooth, and then the Recollections paper. I don't date them. I could. I've dated them in pencil in the past, but because I can just look up through the word of the day, I know what day they are. Oh, I guess I don't date them the date that I write them. I date them the date that they were word of the day, I suppose. So nobody in the future will ever know that I didn't actually write each one on its proper day. But that is a good habit to get into, dating your paper. I rarely date my paper. I should. Dinner and a movie first, but I don't. Dead joke. Commodious. A little sharp on top there. Do that again. Ooh, very round. We're gonna keep going anyways, but commodious. Spacious and spacious and convenient, roomy. There we go. Commodious. Spacious and convenient. Roomy. God of bathrooms. That's definition number 2. Okay. What? What's next? Next. Let's go back to January 26th. Ooh. What we got here? We got insouciant. Ooh, part of me wants to read that as insouciant, but I'm pretty, well, because of the breakdown. Insouciant? Insouciant. Insouciant. Free from concern, worry, or anxiety. Carefree, nonchalant. What I wish my writing felt like. I wish my writing felt insouciant. Probably not the right use in a sentence, but another capital I? What's going on with the capital I's today? Dictionary.com. Making me work. Insouciant. There we go. That's the I we want. Insouciant. 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 Yeah, if I didn't have that, if they didn't sort of read it out or show the breakdown, I definitely would have read that as insouciant, I think. Insouciant. Insouciant. Free from concern. Hello, Fozzie. Are you in traffic? You were in traffic? You're sitting in traffic right now? On your way home from somewhere or to somewhere? Whoops. Free from concern. I think I might have to make this one worry. Oh yeah, we'll do 3 lines, I guess. Worry or anxiety. Carefree, nonchalant. Excuse me. Five lanes of oof. That sounds very fun, Fonzie. Well, be safe. Have you picked Ian up yet? Or are you still en route to Ian? Are you en route to ballet or en route home from ballet? that might just very well be one of the nicest ascender strokes I've ever done on that F, randomly. Bottom half isn't supreme, but that is just wonderful. Carefree. Nonchalant. Nonchalant. Alright, Fuzzy, be safe. We'll see you soon. Insouciant. I'm gonna do a few more capital I's. Here we go. I've been starting my shades way too early on my eyes. Alright, let's do it. Insouciant. Insouciant. How much space do I need? Free from ooh. Very close to the edge here on the left. Whoopsies. Almost didn't give myself enough space, but I should be okay. Free from concern. Should be good if we start about here. It's weird. My practice sheet is giving me... I was just going crazy when I wrote commodious, but my practice sheet has better hairlines than this sheet. I don't understand why. That doesn't make any sense. Nothing has changed in the nib. Free from concern, worry, or anxiety. Carefree, nonchalant. Whoops. I forgot an E. Damn. Car free. Whoops. You want to be insouciant and sleep the winter away? Free from concern. I mean, it'd be nice to be completely souciant. I just want to say souciant, but souciant is what I have to say, I guess. Right? I feel like if I'm being completely free from concern, worry, or anxiety, I'm probably pretty car free as well. Because if I got the car, then I'm worried about insurance and licensing and all that stuff. Insouciant, car free. Whoops. Why is my hairline like... I don't know if you guys can even see the difference, but to me, the difference between these hairlines and these hairlines, can you even tell a difference on the screen? Maybe not, I don't know. To me, it's crazy. This looks so much better, and I don't understand why. Something's up with this sheet of paper. Say it quickly 3 times. Souciant, 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 souciant. It's not really a tongue twister. It's just, it makes me want to say it as souciant. Oh, it's insouciant, I just said. Insouciant, 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 insouciant. It's the same paper. Yeah, they're both watermarked the same, but who knows? There's variability in every product out there. Could just be an interest, or maybe that sheet is just an anomaly sheet, and this is what it's supposed to be like. Oh, this nib is beyond tired. This nib it's been probably sharpened a few too many times. Tiny nib snap on the T. Whoops. Ah, I did call the nib dead. That is true. But I feel like it's not the nib because when I write on that sheet of paper, and that wasn't that long ago, because I felt it when I was writing commodious, I noticed my commodious hairlines didn't feel very good. And I just thought it was me. But then when I wrote insouciant, I got the same feeling on this sheet of paper. Who knows? I might be going crazy. It's very possible. Free from concern. Here we go. Free from concern. Is there a comma after concern? I feel like there should be. Yes, good. I missed that the first time. Free from concern, worry, or anxiety. Carefree, not car-free this time. That anxiety looks a little whack, but that's okay. We'll leave it. Carefree, nonchalant. My ascenders have gotten shorter. Unfortunately, but that's okay. Carefree, nonchalant. There we go. Insouciant. Boom. So interesting. While I was writing that, I couldn't stop thinking about how the correlation between the hairline and how much I try. Or the writing is always better, for me anyways, the writing is always better when the hairline feels finer. And it's not because it looks better because the hairline is finer, but when my nib is putting out a beautifully, what feels to me, smooth, perfect hairline, it relaxes me, and I think I try harder, but with this, trying harder essentially means relaxing more and being less stressed about the outcome and things like that. When the hairline isn't nice, or isn't perfect, there's no such thing as perfect, but isn't what I consider to be perfect, the writing never looks as good. And it's not because the hairline's worse, it's because the forms aren't as good. It's the nice hairlines make me write better. Like, people will say, that's the whole thing, like with pens, like a better pen, like it's not about the pen, it's about the penman. But not true. And it's just a mental thing. There's no reason that my writing should be worse when my hairline is worse, but it's a thing. When I do that first stroke and the hairline is beautiful, guaranteed what comes after it will be nicer than if that first hairline isn't beautiful. 100%. Okay. Where are we on? We'll go to... What day do we have now? Oh, we got a long way to go. We're on January 26th. We're on Friday. Heteronym? Heteronym. Is that how I pronounce that? There we go. Heteronym. Well, long definition.
Heteronym.
Heteronym. A word spelled the same as another, but having a different sound and meaning. Makes sense? Weird. There's another term for that, is there not? A word that's spelled the same as another, but has a different sound and meaning. What's an example of a heteronym? Giancarlo, that is a good way to do it. A homonym? So what's a homonym? What's the difference between a heteronym and a homonym? A homonym is when it's spelt the same. No, sounds the same but is spelt different? Yeah, they sound the same. So like Cain and Cain, C-A-I-N-C-A-N-E. Those are homonyms. So this is the opposite, a heteronym. What's an example of a heteronym? What's a word that is spelt the same but sounds different? This shouldn't be hard to think of one. Read and read. That's a good one. Dove and dove. Heteronym. Sweet. I didn't know that. I feel like I should have known, because I knew homonym. We just left it at homonym. I never learned the opposite, which is bizarre. Okay, we get to do an H. No, it's the opposite, isn't it, Ojaswini? Yeah, homonyms are that they sound the same but they're spelt different. Heteronyms are that they sound different but are spelt the same, so they're just the opposite. Read and read is a tense difference, yes, but in the words, they are spelt the same, but they are read different. So they're also a tense difference, but I'm assuming they're also a heteronym, because unless they're in that case, they're not considered different words. In that case, dove and dove are 100% heteronyms. We are learning today. Okay, here we're back to this paper, this page. We'll see what the hairlines feel like. See if I'm crazy. Woo! Nice stem. Whoops. Heteronym. Yeah, Giancarlo, homonym. Do I have to look this up now? Homonym is like deer and deer, because they are spelt different but they sound the same. Yeah, those are homonyms. Cain, C-A-I-N, Cain, C-A-N-E, spelt different, sound the same. Homonym. Dove, D-O-V-E, dove, D-O-V-E, sound different, spelt the same, heteronym. Boom. English 101 with MrMGWard. I'm very surprised that I didn't know heteronym. The issue I was having with hairline is 100% me. Proof is between this heteronym and this heteronym. This hairline is so much nicer and finer, and this one is worse. It's just the way I wrote it. I am not being consistent in my hairline today. They're very almost the same, but no, it is me. It's not the paper. Equivocal. Univocal? I don't know that word. Univocal? I know equivocal. Unequivocal? Equivocal? Unequivocal? Unequivocal? Unequivocal, unequivocal, equivocal, unequivocal. My brain is dying. I need to just start writing. I'm going down. My brain is crashing. I think I just said I got stuck in a loop there for a sec. Yep, dessert and dessert. Wait. Well, no, because dessert has two S's. Doesn't it? Yeah. Desert. Those are neither homonyms or heteronyms, because desert has desert has one S, dessert has two S's. They are spelled different, and they sound different. Oh, dessert meaning to leave. Sorry, you wrote meaning leave. Got you. I totally didn't read that part. Dessert. And well, now I'm curious, because those could also, that's similar to read and read. No, dessert, desert. Yeah, those would be heteronyms, spelt the same, pronounced different. No. Yeah. Yes. I'm gonna stop. My brain is not working anymore. What's this definition? Let me just write this definition. A word spelled the same as another You wanted a normal word day. Heteronym is probably the normalist word we've had so far. Because it's, I mean, we knew its opposite. Homonym. Same as another, but having different sound or meaning. Is that gonna fit in this last line? It's impossible. If it's spelt with a T and not spelled, maybe this means, maybe it's like a magical term. It's a word not spelled the same like with letters, but spelled the same like with a wand. Pretty sure there's ink dried on the end of my nib. Different sound. And meaning. Oh, I'm gonna run out of space. This last line doesn't fit. Messy. Okay, that didn't fit. Okay. Do we make it 4 lines? A word spelled the same as another. But having a, it's probably all it's gonna fit on this line. I don't like this. That's even smaller. That doesn't work. Same as another but. Having a different. Phone battery died. Writing messier now because I'm just trying to get this spacing figured out. Having a different sound and meaning. Okay, close enough. The writing got really messy there. Okay. Let's clean the nib and then we'll go for it. Heteronym. Sunk and synced. Oi, 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 what's going on here? Marilyn, did you say they've been doing it for 76 years? Is that the comment I saw earlier? 70 plus years of word of the days? It's a lot of words. That's like Where is it? You guys see that dictionary? Look how big this dictionary. Oh, can you see it? It's huge. A big, giant dictionary. Oh, that was something else. Okay. I wonder how long they've been doing Word of the Days. I mean, I guess the internet hasn't been around for 74 years, so they couldn't be doing them on dictionary.com for 74 years. I suppose. New sheet of paper. Since the beginning of, I guess they had Word of the Day calendars and stuff probably before the internet, so that makes sense. Okay, heteronym. I feel like this word fried my brain a little bit. Hetero. Straight line. True, newspapers, that would make sense. That's very true. Did my camera move? My black sheet of paper is on an angle on the camera now slightly. It's supposed to be straight. Okay, how much space do we need here? A word spelled the. Okay. Come on. Word spelled the, same as another but. Having a different So long, Giancarlo. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you soon. Having a different sound and meaning. Meaning. There we go. Heteronym. It's a long definition, that one. Broke my brain a little bit. Have a good night, Marilyn. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you next time. Okay, what do we got next? Next, January 25th. Ooh, how do I say that? Pareidolia? Pareidolia? What do you guys think? Pareidolia? Pareidolia? Pareidolia?
Pareidolia.
Pareidolia. Oh, second option is what we said. Pareidolia or pareidolia. Pareidolia. I like pareidolia better. Pareidolia. Well, this one's got a super long definition. The illusory perception of meaningful patterns or images of familiar things in random or amorphous data, as a face seen on the moon. That's gonna take forever. That's a whole page of writing in ornamental penmanship. Pareidolia. Definitely never heard that one before. Yeah, is right, Otis Swinney. I agree. What? Pareidolia. Which P are we gonna use today? Probably that one. Pareidolia. Whoops. There has to be a lowercase I in there. Okay. One more time. Pareidolia. Ugly stem. Good second stroke, though. What face is it? You've never seen a face on the moon? Pareidolia. Okay, that's gonna take so much space. the man on the moon. The illusory perception. The illusory perception. Of meaningful patterns or I'm gonna put images in this line as well. This one's too big. Of familiar things in random whoa, that was a really bad D. Random or amorphous data. As a face seen on the moon. It's a long one. You can't see the moon? That's sad. I like looking at the moon. Looking at the stars is one of my favorite things. Okay, that's a long one. Add. I think this might be our last one for the night. I got an early morning tomorrow. Gotta make sure I'm all ready for my class. But we're gonna try to make it. We're gonna try to do this very, very good. For the final one. Are we lined up? Almost. Okay. Here we go. Pareidolia. My class it's 11 a.m. for me, which is not that early. I just have a bunch of stuff I have to do before the class. Regular work and penmanship stuff. So I have an early day. Okay, Pareidolia. Here we go. Start with a very nice P. We can do better. Yeah. Stem has a kink in it. I forgot the I again. I guess we should say it like...
Pareidolia.
We should say it like the first way.
Pareidolia.
And I'll stop forgetting that I. Pareidolia. 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 It's a better P anyways. Pareidolia. The illusory perception of. This spacing is never going to be centered, but that's okay. The illusory perception. Oof, using my fingers a lot. Must be getting tired. The illusory perception of meaningful patterns or images. I feel like I'm writing with my elbow very far out today, but it's comfortable for some reason. Meaningful patterns or images of familiar things in random. In random or amorphous data. Slowly getting through it. As a face seen on the moon. Nip snap. Gotta be careful. There. Whew. Pareidolia. The illusory perception of meaningful patterns or images of familiar things in random or amorphous data as a face seen on the moon. That was way too long. I think my ink needs water. It's been open for too long. Well, we did some word of the days. Takes a long time with chatting in the middle and whatnot. Leave that there for now. Ooh, the next one. I'm not gonna do the next one right now, but because I need to go to sleep. But I like the next one. I'm gonna look forward to doing the next one. I'll probably write it tomorrow after my class. But check this one out. Gully washer. I like that. I don't even know what it means, but I just want to call somebody a gully washer. Get out of here, you gully washer. Gully washer. A usually short, heavy rainstorm. Well, because it washes the gully. Just a quick, heavy, short gully washer. I am for sure gonna call somebody a gully washer. Did I do Japanese today? Panic. I'm double checking. I think I did. Pretty certain I did. Oh yeah, I did. We're square. Good, good, good. Gully in street means Hindi. Oh, so it's a street washer. That makes sense. Quick, short rainstorm. Gully washer. A street washer. I like it. I'm still going to use it as I'm going to call a friend of mine. I'm going to endeavor tomorrow to call somebody a gully washer and see what happens. We're going to call that a night, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hope you guys had fun. I'm going to hopefully be back next week. If you have ideas, things you want to do on stream, let me know in the comments below or hit me up on the Creatrium, my Discord. And yeah, if you got cool ideas, we can put them into effect. Again, thank you very much for hanging out with me today. Make sure that you are falling in love with this process because it's a fun one. And don't forget, everybody, that life should be just a bit of silliness, really. Good night. Oh, reach for the mic. Navigate the mic to the stop stream button and